Someone says the one thing, and before you even decide to, you have already snapped back. That heat felt like it happened to you. But there was a half second in there that was entirely yours. And once you can find it, you can keep it. And anger is not a soft problem. It costs you the words you cannot take back. The relationship you damage in 4 seconds. The hour you lose at night replaying it. And here is what the research keeps finding, the part almost nobody says out loud. Letting it out, venting it, does not cool the anger down. It feeds it. If turning 2,000-year-old practice into something you can actually use the next time someone sets you off is your kind of thing, subscribe. And if not, no hard feelings. Stay right here, because this next part is the whole point. Almost 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote a whole book on anger. And in it, he drew a line that almost nobody draws. When someone wrongs you, there is a flush. The heat rises. Your pulse quickens. Your jaw sets before you have decided anything at all. Seneca called that the first movement. The first spark. And here is the part that changes everything. That first spark is involuntary. It is not anger yet. And it is not your fault. Anger is the second spark. The silent yes, you give the heat. I have been wronged, and I will strike back. The heat arrives on its own. The yes is yours. That single distinction is the whole of this. And Seneca named one remedy he said beats every other cure for anger combined. It costs less than a minute. Hold that. So you do not fight the heat. You cannot. It is faster than you are. It arrives before thought. What you can do is claim the half second between the heat and the yes. That gap is the entire practice. Not never get angry. Not a colder heart. Just this. Do not light the second spark. The heat will come. Let it come. But the moment it arrives is not the moment to act. Between the spark you did not choose and the yes that is yours, there is a sliver of time. Most people never notice it is there. They feel the heat and they sign for it in the same instant, as if the two were one thing. They are not one thing. Find the seam between them, and you have found the only place where you were ever free. Let me slow this down, because it is the heart of everything. Seneca described 3 movements in anger, and only the first is outside your control. The first movement is the jolt, the involuntary heat, the quickened breath, the sting of being wronged. It happens to you. The second movement is the assent. The mind says, yes, I have been wronged, and yes, I will strike back. This is anger itself. And this one is a choice, even when it does not feel like one. The third movement is the runaway. Anger past the reach of reason, when you are no longer steering. You have seen it in other people. You have probably seen it in yourself. The whole of your freedom lives at the seam between the first movement and the second. Seneca did not soften what waits on the far side of that seam. He called anger the most hideous and frenzied of all the passions, a temporary madness. Because that is what it is. For a few seconds, or a few minutes, a normally reasonable person stops being reasonable. And here is the part I want you to hear most. The calmest people you know are not the ones who never feel the heat. They feel it too. The first spark comes to everyone. It came to Seneca. It came to Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who wrote in his private journal about wrestling with his own temper. The calm ones are simply the ones who never sign for it. So if you have been ashamed of how fast the heat rises in you, you can let that go. The heat is not the failure. The failure, if there is one, is only in the yes. and the yes can be withheld. Marcus Aurelius put the same truth in a single line. "Choose not to be harmed," he wrote, "and you will not feel harmed. Do not feel harmed, and you have not been harmed." He is not denying that hard things happen. He is saying that the sting, the part that becomes anger, needs your judgment to sign off on it. Without the yes, the wrong stays outside you. Now, the open loop. The one remedy Seneca rated above every other cure for anger combined. It is almost absurdly simple. It is delay. Seneca had a word for it. Mora. The greatest remedy for anger, he wrote, is delay. Give the first heat a little time, and it falls on its own. The body cannot hold that pitch for long. The second spark only catches if you act while the first one is still hot. So you do not need to win an argument with your own anger in the moment. You only need to not act inside the heat. Let a little time pass, and there is less and less to act on. The pause is not weakness. It is not backing down. It is the gate everything else has to pass through. And here the modern research lands exactly where Seneca did. In 2024, two psychologists, Kiervik and Bushman, published a meta-analysis in the journal Clinical Psychology Review. They pulled together more than 150 studies with over 10,000 participants and asked a simple question: what actually lowers anger? The answer was clean, and it overturns the advice most of us grew up with. Activities that bring your arousal down, slowing your breath, stepping away, letting time pass, reliably reduce anger. Activities that push your arousal up, venting, hitting something, shouting it out, do not. And often they make it worse. The popular idea that you need to let it out, get it off your chest, discharge the pressure, is not just unhelpful. It runs the wrong way. You do not need to discharge the anger. You need to outlast it. The remedy is delay. Seneca named it 2,000 years ago from a stone study in Rome. 2024 simply measured it across 150 studies and found that the old man was right. Let the heat fall. Do not feed it on the way down. So here is the one thing to do, and it really is one thing. Not a system, not a list of techniques. Decide tonight, before you ever need it, on one deliberate pause. A bounded delay you will take the next time someone sets you off before you say or do a single thing. It can be one slow breath all the way out. It can be 10 unhurried seconds of silence. It can be a single sentence. Let me come back to you on that. It can be standing up and walking to the next room. The shape does not matter. The rule is what matters, and the rule is this: no response leaves you while the heat is still rising. Let me make it concrete. Picture the message that makes your face go hot. The one that lands like an insult, and the reply is already half-typed under your thumbs before you have decided anything. That is the first spark. That is the heat, doing exactly what heat does. Here is the move. Hands off the keyboard. One breath, all the way out. Let the first spark pass without feeding it. 10 seconds. And then notice something. The reply you would have sent in the heat and the reply you send after the pause are almost never the same reply. The second one is the one you can live with tomorrow. That is the entire practice. You are not trying to feel nothing. You are not trying to be a colder person. You are just refusing to act inside the madness. One pause, decided in advance, taken every time before the yes. So here is the whole of it. The heat was never the problem, and it was never your fault. It arrives on its own, in everyone, the same way it arrived in Marcus and in Seneca. Anger is the second spark. The silent yes, you give the heat. And the oldest remedy we have is not to fight it and not to vent it. It is to delay. Claim the half second between the heat and the yes, and let the first spark pass unfed. So the next time someone sets you off, before one word leaves you, take the pause you decided on tonight. 1 slow breath. 10 unhurried seconds. Let me come back to you on that. No response leaves you while the heat is still rising. That is the practice. Not a colder heart. A slower hand. If turning ancient practice into something you can use the same day is what you come here for, subscribe and keep one of these within reach. Daily Stoic mentality. Ancient wisdom for the modern mind.